words like eclectic and international when describing the South Grand area, it's definitely alive with excitement, and no one knows it better than 15th Ward Alderwoman Jennifer Florida.
It's a wonderful place to live. It's very diverse, economically, socially. It's an area that is immediately south of Gravois Park, mostly west of Grand. It's Arsenal on the north side, Montana on the south side, mostly on the east side Grand, and on the west side Bent. My area covers primarily Gravois South neighborhood, small portions of Benton Park West, Gravois Park, and then Dutchtown and Gravois East. We have quite a mix, actually, professional people, lawyers, doctors, but at the same time you still have craftsmen, you have laborers, you have students. So the neighborhood is, I think, just a wonderful cross-section of St. Louis.
Florida hadn't planned on running for office until her alderman at the time retired and area projects stalled.
At that time it would have been devastating if these projects weren't completed, and so I took that leap of faith and made the transition from a community leader to an elected official.
And the Alderwoman has never looked back.
I've raised a family in this neighborhood. It is a wonderful place to raise a family. You have strong community and you have access to all these wonderful institutions. The schools are great. Actually, you have private, Catholic, and I know people don't like to talk about the St. Louis Public Schools, but the St. Louis Public Schools really have the best schools to offer in the gifted program, and that's according to the state of Missouri DESE. The city actually has a lot to offer, so I've really, I couldn't imagine raising my children anywhere else. The people that live there are very passionate about the community.
Someone who has firsthand knowledge of that passion is the Executive Director of the South Grand Community Improvement District, Rachel Witt.
One question I always ask residents when I go to the neighborhood association meetings is, what brought you to the South Grand area, the Grove area? And they said, I want my children to grow up in a very diverse neighborhood, economically, socially, racially, culturally. They don't want to live in a suburb where everyone looks the same and everyone's home looks the same.
You work very closely with the Community Improvement District because the district is very valuable to the neighborhood. Rachel's been very much a part of the fabric of the neighborhood. She's very committed to attending neighborhood meetings, and she's very passionate about the South Grand Great Streetscape Initiative and about making South Grand a more vibrant district. And it is already a very vibrant place to shop and eat.
And the sales tax is a state sales tax, so a half a cent of every dollar spent here stays here. So anyone who comes to South Grand and eats here or shops here, we're making an impact in the district and helping improve it.
A key component is to getting people on the street to patronize the businesses, is developing office space actually, and affordable office space.
There are a number of quaint locally owned shops in the neighborhood, and if you're hungry, you can find almost any kind of food from almost any country.
We're the most diverse district in the city. We have almost the entire world, it feels like, on South Grand. We have from Ethiopian to Vietnamese to Thai to Chinese to Italian. We have Afghani food, Persian food. It's just amazing diversity that we have here on South Grand.
Among the favorites is Mangia Italiano, a very chic Italian restaurant.
I think Mangia's been there for 30 years, but David Burmeister, a young entrepreneur, purchased it. And he's a young, hip, cool kid who loves the city, and I would say his business is one of the coolest businesses in the whole city of St. Louis.
Originally it was a fresh pasta shop and Italian delicatessen. As time went on, they started serving sandwiches, the business started to grow, they incorporated some tables and chairs brought from home, and eventually it evolved into the restaurant that it is now. We serve eclectic Italian and new American cuisine. We specialize in fresh pasta and fresh ingredients. We are a scratch kitchen, and we make everything here on premises.
Besides the fine dining area, there's a trendy bar for the late night crowd, a great buffet for the lunch crowd, and a catering space in the basement. Burmeister has also kept up and even expanded the wholesale pasta line.
We make over 1,500 pounds a week. We make fresh pasta for all the Deerbergs markets, the Straub's markets, Whole Foods in 4 states, and 50 fine restaurants around town. We hope to incorporate a patio in the next few months, not only to better accommodate our smoking clientele, since we recently went smoke-free, but also to help beautify and improve the district.
He's doubled the space and has a very interesting, unique approach to being a restaurateur in St. Louis.
Another restaurant to add flavor to the area is Cafe Mochi, one of the newest restaurants to come to South Grand. The owner is Victor Hung Pham.
I had an established business on South Grand, and I have a vacant property right next to this business. After consultation with the architect, we determined this would be perfect for a restaurant.
The established business that Victor is referring to is his hair salon right next door.
It's called Victor's Hair Salon. It does very well. I've been doing this for 20 years also.
Victor Hung really has had quite an interesting plan for his property. He has basically doubled his space, done this beautiful new construction that blends with the 3-story brick home that he was operating out of.
The contractor who did the work did an amazing job, and the space is beautiful, great food, and also he built a condo above it where he lives. So he's part of the district, part of the 15th Ward, and Alderman Florida has helped so much to make that possible as well.
She does whatever it takes to help a business owner to have a successful business.
I listen to our people and try to determine what their real issues are. So you do like a physical assessment, and then you do kind of an emotional assessment, and then I do what you call a power analysis on who has the power to change this situation and how do you bring the right people together to change this situation.
Cafe Mochi has already become an instant success. That's because of its ambiance and its Vietnamese and Japanese fusion type cuisine.
My brother, he's a chef, and he creates everything here. From the product, how it tastes and how it's decorated, and it's all his work. The most important thing is sushi. We have others like katsu, teriyaki, ginger kebab, summarized lobster, which has lobster, crab, grilled asparagus with a topico sauce. My favorite is a volcano roll. It has tempura shrimp, grilled asparagus, avocado, topped with crab and scallop in a light cream sauce.
Victor compares it to an art.
It is art. It's beautiful decorations, and at the same time, it's good to eat. I added the patio because it has more sitting space for the restaurant. I think it was beautiful to sit out there to eat sushi, and it can look beautiful for South Grand also.
Alderwoman Florida says visiting this restaurant is a must.
I think that everyone should take the time out from your day and go to Grand and Humphrey and visit Cafe Mochi so you know what I'm talking about.
And just gets better and better with more and more restaurants and more bars that come this way.
And of course, one can't talk about South Grand without mentioning the fabulous and somewhat infamous City Diner.
The City Diner is a landmark, and Pete Spoto doubled his space and added an outdoor patio in the last 5 years, and it is now called City Diner, and the food is terrific.
I think the diner kind of, just in itself, is sort of nostalgic, and it brings back fond memories. It's a chance for people kind of to come together. We have blue-collar workers, white-collar workers. I think the fact that it's moderately priced brings a lot of people in, students, seniors, and that's basically what I like about it.
It also brings in a 15th Ward Alderwoman.
Jennifer is a really dedicated Alderwoman. She's always been behind us here at the City Diner, and one of the frequent guests as well. They have meetings here. She's kind of worked out her campaign strategy here at times, so I think she's done a great deal for the neighborhood, and I can't say enough about her.
Spoto attributes the restaurant's success to a number of things, namely great food and great service.
Of course, we make our own meatloaf here, and that's one of the most popular dishes on the menu.
Besides the regular dinner specialties, they serve up a
because we are open 7 days a week and 24 hours on the weekend. I think I've got a great crew. I think this is the best crew I've had in the last 18 years. We really have a good team here, and everyone's dedicated to the guests and giving a fine service and great food. I've been in the business for 35 years, and I can honestly say I've never seen a restaurant with such regular customers, and I think it's because the price point as well, that they can afford to come back. We have some customers that come in daily, and some come in even twice a day, you know, and I've never really worked in a joint like that. That's what I like about it. There's a lot of familiar faces, and you become friends with these people, you know, and it's great.
Because the restaurant is open 24 hours on weekends, they get a very mixed crowd.
We do get a fun late night. We get, of course, all the bars crew closing and a lot of industry people, and we even get people from across the river coming in. It's a pretty good crowd. We've been very fortunate. We have been fortunate enough to have the Riverfront Times vote us Best Diner for the last 10 years, I believe. Sauce Magazine, a similar as well, and gotten a few other awards as well, and the recognition is great.
The diner has done so well, they will be opening a second location.
I wanted to expand, and the opportunity arose. You know, the Fox Theater kind of approached me on wanting to put specifically a diner up in their location there, and we had some long talks about it and various negotiations, and eventually it has happened. So we are building a second location at the Fox Theater.
The business community has been strong in this area for probably 25 years. 30 years. They're well organized, they're well vested, they're cohesive, and they're always thinking forward, and at the same time they're very sensitive to the needs of the neighborhood. I think that what's occurred in the last maybe 6 years is really truly a symbiotic relationship between the residents and the business owners, because they need each other to thrive and to do better and to be all that we hope that area can be.
We have 2 new businesses that are going to be opening in the next month or so. One is called Mojo's Tapas Restaurant and Bar. It's going to be tapas food, of course, and then also we're getting a pizza restaurant on South Grand. It's called St. Louis National Pizza Company. It's going to be St. Louis style, Chicago style, and New York style pizza, and you can buy it by the slice as well. Especially for someone who's on the go, wants to come to South Grand and doesn't really have enough time to sit down in a restaurant, so they can grab a slice, grab a soda, and head back to work.
Turns out one of those restaurants is already doing business, and Alderwoman Florida was on hand to check it out.
It's so key to support our small businesses, to keep them going. And by supporting these small businesses on South Grand, you're not just helping South Grand, but you're helping make St. Louis a better city.
And not only are small family restaurants coming to the area, but also those on a larger scale.
There is a new restaurant going in at Gravois Plaza. It was an old Shoney's restaurant, and they, in cooperation, sold that property to Wendy's, and so Wendy's is making a significant investment in our neighborhood.
More restaurants, of course, mean more business and more traffic and a need for more parking.
We just bought some land behind Commerce Bank. We're going to put 90+ parking spaces there. Construction should start in a few months. We want to make this a place that the residents feel comfortable with the parking lot there in our design, and also alluring for people who visit the area to want to park back there.
I think it's a great area to live. I think it's a great area to come down and enjoy yourself. There's a lot of things going on the street, a lot of restaurants. We got a great bookstore down the street, ice cream parlor. You know, it's really changed in the 18 years I've been here.
Over the years, Alderwoman Florida, too, has seen a number of changes as well. Now in her 3rd term, she can look back on some of those changes with fond memories.
Gravois Plaza was the first project that I did in 2001. The next project after that was the Southside Tower, which we've just been quietly, steadily working away at, finding the right combination of developer and then financing.
She speaks of this project as her most rewarding accomplishment.
Southside National Bank building still can sometimes make me cry. That it was kind of an emotional project for me, because it just seems so daunting. It just seemed like one of those things like, okay, they want to level it, you know, it was a challenge. and the building was at risk for demolition, which is emotional. Nobody wants to lose something that historic or beautiful. I worked on that from 2001 to about 2007 when it was completed. It was acquired by Allegiant, and I was successful in getting Allegiant to consider donating it to a not-for-profit, which was held for several years until we found a developer, Lawrence Group. So Steve Smith's group actually leveraged the $8 million into the tower, which are now 13 market rate condos, and they're developing the commercial space, which is filling up. So it's now home to the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce and some local small business.
Today, the site is a beautiful combination of residential and commercial property.
I don't think I ever thought that it could fail. But now, looking back many years later, knowing how things work, that I was very fortunate.
Another centerpiece for the 15th Ward is the newly completed Southside Senior Apartments, a $12 million investment.
Making sure that we have a quality place for our seniors to live here in the 15th Ward. This is a spectacular development.
The South Grand Senior Apartment project was done separately from the 20-some market rate houses, but this was all a vacant parcel due to the leveling of the old Sears building many, many years ago. And so the new construction houses were successfully constructed and sold, but then we had a large parcel of land on the commercial side. And so the South Grand Senior Apartments have commercial space right along the street side that hasn't been filled up yet. So you still have a commercial aspect storefront to it. And then toward the east side of the lot, it's been developed into 87 units of senior housing. It's 100% occupied. So that's a wonderful thing to see that this project, in spite of the recession, has been successfully completed and is being used in the way that it was supposed to be.
The next project for the ward will be another notable redevelopment.
The Lawrence Group has acquired the old Melba and the Farmer's Merchant, which is directly across the street. And so those are the two developments that will occur hopefully in the next couple of years as we move out of the recession.
Florida believes this redevelopment will not only be a huge investment for the area, but will act as a catalyst to leverage further investment.
When those developments actually occur, they'll look very much like the quality work that Lawrence Group did on the Southside Tower. A lot of investment has been leveraged in that area, probably close to $25 million, which is significant. And those are the types of things that help stabilize a community and at the same time increase property values, and it adds an energy, right, and a sense of pride that things are going well. And so then I can do the things that I want to do to my home because I have the confidence now to invest. Whereas maybe you were thinking, I don't know what's going on here, and maybe I should hold back. But it does kind of send the right message and the right signals for everyone else to continue to make those types of investments in their own homes.
Because the 15th Ward is historically intact, certain parts of the neighborhood have been nominated to the National Registry of Historic Places.
And I have one historic district, which is basically Tower Grove Heights. It's a wonderful tool for redevelopment because you can utilize historic tax credits when you do development. And I think it helps us tell the story of St. Louis. It's just an upside to identifying your intact historic neighborhood, what buildings are contributing, and so I've been working toward attaching adjacent historic districts to the one that was nominated many years ago.
Of all the exciting projects taking place in the area, one seems to stand out among all the others.
The most important thing that Alderwoman Florida has done for South Grand is secure the Great Streets Initiative.
A couple of years ago, East-West Gateway identified South Grand as a great streetscape. It's one of 4 pilot projects regionally, basically to address safety, redesign, to improve economic development, to address infrastructure, as well as going green, looking at the environment and how we can more positively impact the environment.
As you can see, this area is one of the busiest traffic areas in St. Louis, which is why the main focus of the South Grand Great Streetscape Initiative has been on safety.
It was very unsafe. We had 97 accidents a year on South Grand. People were killed because the traffic was just, going at such a really fast pace. and there was no real safe way to cross South Grand. So for me, that was one of the key components.
What this project is going to do for this area is to slow down traffic, making it a more pedestrian-friendly area, fixing the sidewalks, making them 3 feet wider on each side so they'd be more ADA accessible, because a lot of them are in really deplorable condition, and to help anyone with special needs is gratifying.
The initiative also includes increased investment in signalization.
We found that the timing of the lights was really all messed up and part of the problem. And we needed an upgrade in signalization to include pedestrian cues and auditory cues so people can cross safely, and that will help.
The other key component to the initiative is the environment, and one environmental issue has been weighing heavily on the Alderwoman's mind.
It came to my attention that we have some serious overflow issues, that basically the city of St. Louis has an antiquated sewer system. The overall issue is we're dumping waste into the Mississippi because we have an antiquated sewer system, and all water is being treated like waste, which causes the system to overflow and dump waste into the Mississippi. We as a city have been encouraged by MSD to look at ways to mitigate that. And so one way that you can do that is by creating pervious surfaces. We looked at an example. Chicago basically has a green alley initiative, and that is one way that you can rebuild your alleys with a filtration system so the water can go back into the ecosystem rather than going into the sewer system, so that when it overflows, waste goes into the Mississippi. I've been working closely with a neighborhood leader where we identified 4 unimproved alleys. Alleys that had never been paved, that are brick 100 years old and are in terrible shape. So they need investment anyway.
We are very excited about the Great Streets Initiative as what it's going to do for the district. It's going to revamp everything and make all the sidewalks that have seen a lot of wear improved and better.
I would love for South Grand to become the first green restaurant business district, not just in the city of St. Louis, but in our region, and to set a precedent on what can be done to help our environment and our country.
Florida says the $3 million project will make South Grand look quite a bit different.
It's going to be absolutely beautiful. We've also included rainwater gardens throughout the district, which I'm very excited about, at every intersection, and that's another way to capture the water.
When people drive down South Grand and they see this new streetscape, they're going to be like, wow, this area is impressive. I need to pull over and check this out.
It may not always be easy, but hope, sheer determination, and great teamwork is how Alderwoman Florida believes you get things done.
I do think that you have to look at the people in your ward as a resource, as a partner. There isn't anything that I can do all by myself. There isn't anything that I have ever done all by myself.
Of course, listening to and understanding her constituents is the other way.
I relate well to the people in the ward because I came from the people of the ward. I mean, I was a block captain. I was a community leader. I was a church person. So I feel like I am one of the people from my ward.
The Alderwoman's hard work and dedication has not gone unnoticed.
It's just been amazing dealing with Jennifer Florida. She has been instrumental for my job. She does her research, she does her homework. She always asks questions, is always researching, finding out what can we do to make this area better.
I do care. I care, and I think the work is challenging. It does require a strategy, and I think that's what's missing, I think, sometimes, is you really have to be willing to be open to problem solving. And that sometimes means you have to think outside the box.
Alderwoman Jennifer Florida does a great job. I'm very happy to have her as the alderperson for this district. I know that she is going to be very involved in the patio project. And of course she always helps along when it goes to City Hall to get things done. With the expansion, there's various permits and various approvals that I need through the neighborhood, and she always helps with that process.
You can tell it in the face that she's very excited about the neighborhood and is really behind it.
Running for office, I finally was able to connect my passion with my profession. And I'm always telling my children, if you can connect your passion with your profession, you won't care how much money you make, because the way that you spend your time every day is so rewarding.
With most of the larger projects finished, she says she'll now be looking ahead to the future.
I'm going to continue working on the neighborhood issues and still continue to support the South Grand Great Streetscape Initiative to see that all the way through to completion.
When it's all said and done, Alderwoman Jennifer Florida hopes to leave her mark on the 15th Ward and knows how she wants to be remembered.
I would like my constituents to remember me as somebody who cares, who is fair, who listens, does her best, is very passionate about community, and interested in making sure that their problems are resolved, and that our area is one of the best and brightest and most beautiful places to live.